Fertilizer is an essential part of plant growth, one of the most important ingredients being nitrogen, an element that plays a critical role in plant growth. But how much nitrogen is just right for plants, and what happens if there's too little or too much? In this video, we'll explore the effect of nitrogen on daikon radish growth and answer the question, what is the optimal amount of nitrogen for healthy, productive crops? Our focus is on daikon radishes, a fast-growing crop. By testing different nitrogen levels, we'll determine how this vital nutrient affects radish growth. So why nitrogen? Nitrogen is a key nutrient for plants. It's essential for photosynthesis, growth, and protein production. Plants typically absorb nitrogen in two forms, nitrate and ammonium. As explained in recent research by Yi, Tang, and Jin in 2022, nitrogen is vital for photosynthesis and overall plant health, with both nitrogen deficiency and excess affecting growth and productivity. Applying too little nitrogen can lead to stunted growth, and excess nitrogen can promote excessive vegetative growth and weaken plants. In fact, excessive nitrogen in the soil has been shown to cause slower biomass accumulation and reduce photosynthesis, which was seen in the article by Wang et al. In 2024. We use blood meal 1200 for its high levels of nitrogen content. Our hypothesis is different levels of nitrogen in soil significantly affect plant growth, with optimal nitrogen levels promoting maximum growth and productivity, while both deficient and excessive nitrogen levels result in reduced plant health and yield. We're going to test 3 different nitrogen levels: low nitrogen, which is topsoil and 4 grams of blood meal; optimal nitrogen, which is topsoil and 8 grams of blood meal; and excessive nitrogen, which is topsoil and 17 grams of blood meal. For this experiment, we set up 3 pallets with tray inserts with 24 cells each. We checked the plants every 2 days, measuring their height and observing how the leaves and stems developed. This helped us determine which nitrogen level produced the healthiest plant. The first pallet has topsoil and a little bit of fertilizer to simulate nitrogen-deficient soil. In the second pallet, we used topsoil and the recommended amount of blood meal for one plant to receive the right amount of nitrogen for healthy growth. In the third pallet, we used topsoil and 17 grams of blood meal to simulate excessive nitrogen levels. Our research shows how much of an impact nitrogen has on radish growth and can be applied to other crops being harvested. In this picture, you can see some of our plants that have germinated and then died, and some of our plants that are growing healthy. After 3 weeks, we obtained our final radish measurements and removed our plants from the pots. Here are some of the things that we observed. The plants that did the overall best were in the group with the low nitrogen. The leaves had vibrant green leaves and overall grew the most. The plants with the optimal amount of nitrogen showed stunted growth, but they did grow and have vibrant green leaves. The plants with the excessive nitrogen levels grew rapidly at first, but their leaves were larger and the plant seemed weak, prone to bending over and developing other growth issues and overall dying. This was our radish plants before we put them in the oven to dry for 24 hours. This was our radish plants after we dried them in the oven for 24 hours and before we obtained their biomass. At the end of the project, it was clear the plants with the least amount of nitrogen grew the healthiest and showed the most robust growth. The plants with the optimal amount of nitrogen had stunted growth and overall did not grow as we expected. This could be due to the fact the area of cells was too small for nitrogen added and overall did exceed the level of nitrogen that was needed. Too much nitrogen led to excessive vegetative growth and weaker plants, which ended up dying since too much nitrogen is toxic to plants. This all can be seen in this graph, which is daikon radishes germinated and died. Our findings semi-align with research indicating that nitrogen is essential for plant health, but excessive amounts of nitrogen can lead to undesirable effects like excessive growth and vulnerability to disease. This was shown in Nitrogen and Soil Explained, Soil Quality Knowledge Base 2024 research. In this graph, it shows daikon radishes germinated and survived. We can see that the low level of fertilizer had the highest amount of daikon radishes that survived. This is our final graph, which shows the average mass of the daikon radishes after we dried them in the oven for 24 hours and obtained their biomass. As we can see by the graph, there is no excessive fertilizer variable left because there was no plants left at the end of our 3-week period due to the excessive amount of nitrogen. Our low amount of fertilizer showed the most growth and our healthiest plants, which can be seen by this graph. These were our resources that we used throughout our project. Thank you.